All right, the floor is yours. From what I remember, Weylin and Loch, you were perusing the smorgasbord of rations and soup, some very watery soup. Uh, that's all I remember, actually. Adric, I think you were aiding Harshnag along with Bree, potentially. And Coco, I think you were playing a song of sorts, trying to uplift the mood within these stony halls.
I have lyrics
So,
if you want them.
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Boom. I'm gonna put it in the Discord. I
Oh,
would I would
you
say
got to
them all.
sing it for us.
Oh,
Oh,
Christ.
Dang it. You got this.
Right, I put the lyrics in. You never know, it might come up. Boom.
where are you putting it?
In Discord.
Pie chat. Let's have a look.
So Coco himself, being a little crow person, he's going to mimic this in a very warm tone.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little song about hope, pretty much.
Okay.
Do you want to read it out?
Well, I'll let you read it out. Almost like just read it off as like a poem in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not asking for like the highs and the lows and for you to get your baritone correct.
Oh. God damn, fair enough. All right. Hold on, hold tight to the flicker of light. When the shadows surround, it's your guide. For in every heart, there's a spark from the start, a beacon where hope will abide. When the world feels so cold and your courage grows old, remember the dawn always breaks. With the first ray of sun, a new day has begun, and the hope is in your heart. Sorry, and the hope in your heart reawakens. Hold on, hold tight to the flicker of light. When the shadows surround, it's your guide. For in every heart, there's a spark from the start, a beacon where hope will abide.
Very good, very good. Claps all around, everyone. That's fantastic. Just the way that you're delivering this song, the prose, the way the canter in your verse within the gentle sort of harmonies that you manage to make with your lute. There is a big uplift to everyone in the room. Waylon, Loch, you seem to enjoy the food that you're eating a lot more. Adric, with your aid that you're giving to Harshnag, you're able to sort of almost relax whilst you're applying certain ointments and discussing with him like where the pain is and everything. And Bree, my apologies, you are also helping Harshnag, is that correct?
Um, in a way, more like emotional support because I'm kind of tapped out.
Yeah, so I think the joy that this song has brought, you're able to just lower the tone of the situation, like the gravity of the situation that Harshnag is in, whilst you overlook the aides, Adric and Adric's brother and sister, as they tend to Harshnag's wounds. Fantastic,
Mhm.
good stuff. I love it.
Let's go.
So, who would like to do stuff first? Now, the floor is all yours now. This is a opportune time to discuss certain things that have gone on or prepare down for. So actually, a good point. A good at the time of day is it should be just gone midday. You all arrived in Bolgantech in the morning, a sort of late-ish morning, awaiting breakfast and stuff. A variety of treats were given to you as you met with Johanna and Darafor within their sort of their main sort of central room that they've been organising the activities that the other dwarves had to get on with, trying to recuperate the ability of Bolgantech, and then the destruction of the statue that Harshnag was like peeling this facade off earlier on was round about 11, half 11. So yeah, probably about half 12, 1 o'clock.
Well, I'll launch into explaining to Harshnag what happened in the underground, so what we found and update my brother and sister as to what we found in the temple and underneath it. I think it's underneath. Sort of, we went down, didn't we? Yeah, definitely underneath.
Okay. Is there any like specific details you'd like to be discussing?
Well, there's that. The chamber itself has been destroyed. The altar's been destroyed. There's a hole in the floor. You get from under there. It seems to go some way underground till it emerges to a rock pool that I've never seen before. And that's where we encountered a giantess who excavated a large stone from the center of the pool whilst we were trying to stop her. But she's cast aside all our magical attacks and then set crystalline creatures to attack us.
Mm. Your brother and your sister are listening quite intently, and Harshnag seems to be nodding along. And this giantess that you have come into contact with, can you describe her some more of them? I'm curious as to whether or not this is the same one that I had the opportunity to meet, let's say, earlier. He winces a little bit as one of the aides sort of maybe puts a bit too much pressure on one of these, almost like these burn marks.
She said her brother was above.
Hmm.
So I didn't know who she referred to, but I think Bree thinks she isn't really a giant. She is. Oh God, Bree, you say what your theory is.
So when we were fighting, I did get up close, and for like a moment, her skin, like her face, um, became like a bit scaly, and like her eyes turned a bit reptilian briefly.
Hmm.
Like I believe that the two dragons that we fought in Ascor are the two that, well, I guess one of the two is the giantess, and then she referred to her brother as it must be the other dragon.
Hmm.
Um,
I see.
and like we know that dragons can change into humanoids. Like Philippe is able to do it.
Yes, I too have heard of some rather advanced magics that the dragon species that roams the material plane of Toril have managed to transform. They can manage to transform themselves into humanoids to not necessarily run amok, but to blend in easier, to get what they want much easier. Let's say the two that he's getting a bit annoyed with like how hard one of these aides is applying this ointment. He sort of shunts this dwarf away and glares at them, and the dwarf goes, "Sorry, I've got to put it on." And he's putting these band-aids over.
For your own benefit. It's for your own benefit.
I know, Adrick. I know. My God, it stings. These two dragons, these blue dragons, that is almost certainly what they are. One of them, the one that just ferociously attacked me where I could not just get away from them, he seemed to have just this intent, almost as if he targeted me for some reason or another. And then the this other being, whilst I caught a glimpse in the corner of my eye of her, just with every flash of lightning, she seemed to just transform and wings sprout from her back. She called to this other dragon, this dragon that was clad in almost like these half gauntlet pauldron breastplate arrangement of these dark wrought iron black panels, almost as if it had been attached to itself, not via chain, not via cord, but rather riveted to its own scales. It was only until I heard a name called out that I realized who this pair were. The beast that was attacking me has the name Shezaran, and I believe that the other is called Anazaster. I thought I had killed this clutch of blue dragons whilst I was exploring the high ice, and when I came through down to Ascor many years ago, along my journeys. He points to the helm that he's got just down to the side of him. That there, I regret to say, is the remnants of one of their siblings. How fate has drawn us back together. I fear the reasons as to why, but I was almost no match for the bigger of the brutes. You say that you fought the other down in the caverns, down in the chambers that we left you in. What was this stone that she pulled from this area that you have described, Adric. Did you manage to get it from her, or was your quest non-fruitful?
No, couldn't get anything off that. It seemed to be buried underneath something. There was this pool, there were columns in each corner. It seemed to be underneath that. Was repeating this chant and then pulled it out. In the pool, we found the gnome and her two bears. One of the bears was dead. The other we brought up with the gnome. The gnome was barely alive. Don't know what they were doing down there as well. I think she was some sort of ritual to, I don't know, create this black ooze that sealed the chamber and grew these crystalline forms. But then she conjured these crystalline creatures, these elementals maybe, to attack us, and this crystalline dragon to attack us. We were so busy fighting those, we couldn't do much to her. Whenever I tried to engage with her, she just dispelled my magic. I didn't land a blow on her, but Bree did.
The magics that flow through the blood of dragons has some odd properties, Adric. If you were to cast any sort of affliction upon them, they do have sometimes the ability to shrug off a certain number of times, a certain level, let's say, that you really must strategically think of who or what type you are going after, and what they are willing to try or to push themselves to do.
Loch tried to hit her with lightning,
Mm,
and it had like no effect as far as I could.
I'm
see.
guessing blue dragons have like a lightning breath, which probably means it won't do a whole lot of damage to them.
Indeed. Harshnag is nodding in agreement. You mentioned this verse, this ritual that the female counterpart of the pair was enacting below, and what worries me the most is that my ancient mother is uttered within this tongue. It's not the first time we have heard such verse, such claim that something is being done to or for or against our ancient mother. I worry for my kind, my brothers that I have left behind, as well as, dare I say, those that we have come up against in the past. I fear for the future of my kin. Indeed.
What do you think I guess this poem or saying could be, or could mean even? It's hard to understand because I feel like we don't have enough context.
Without understanding certain components of a ritual, yes, it is very difficult to understand the purpose of what the end goal of the ritual is to do. If you're creating a teleportation circle, or trying to summon a familiar, or trying to sanctify an area against evil, or maybe desecrate an area against good, the ritual caster understands the certain components needed, the verses, to try and tie both physical and intangible arcane power together. The shamans of my old tribe, the ritual casting that they were able to enact, to conduct, and the outcomes of such was, for the most part, mesmerizing, was mystical. But alas, the tone, the verse, the verse composure from what you have recanted to me, Bree, for lack of a better description, it sounds as if there's some sort of impending doom approaching, or some sort of intent to sully the ancient histories of my kin.
So she must have summoned something other than the dragon that we fought afterwards. Or could it be that what she did summon was the dragon and we defeated it and it's no more? Like, ideally, that would be it.
You say she removed something. Maybe the ritual was to withdraw this from the ground that she was excavating? Adric, you said she was digging a hole. Is that what was going on?
Well, she was in the middle of the pool. And this is not the first time giants have removed stones. Remember when we soon after we started out on this journey with my companions, we went to a village or town where a stone had been removed from the middle of the town by giants. Why would they need a stone?
There's something greater afoot, Adric. I sense.
But yeah, whether she was calling on strength or something to enable her to, or maybe there were protective wards surrounding it and she needed to break through them before she could take it. Because she seemed to be very focused on doing that rather than dealing with us. I was challenging her saying, "What are you doing down here? This isn't your space." She was scornful and dismissive, but just summoned her elementals to attack us while she carried on, brushed aside the lightning like there was nothing.
To summon elementals, these beings of the like, these crystal beasts as you've described to me. Yes, the casting ability of this dragon, the size of dragon, mind you, is alarming as well. The how young, how small they are compared to the tales of old that I have heard, the stories given to us by our mystics, our shamans of gargantuan dragons just absorbing power, eating demons, as it were, as one tale goes. To have such force from one and such cunning from the other, with them almost being on the cusp of the later adult stage of dragonkind. Either they have truly worked together to achieve their goals, or maybe they could have a more powerful patron above them.
That patron, is that what we heard of as the Blue Doom? Or is one of these two the Blue Doom? Oh, I don't know. We came here in order to find out what was going on. How come there were dwarves from Volgantech further south attacking other dwarves, zombified ones? We then have seen giants doing strange things, collecting adamantine. We've seen them collecting stones from various places. And we've had these whispers, these reports about the Blue Doom. We've had, when I spoke to the spirits of the dead a week ago, to find out what was going on, that poor soul's body was taken over by an outside force. When Bree and Philippe were trying to break through her memories, again, there was some sort of outside force, some influence on us. And then Philippe was taken by a dragon to a flying castle, a giant's flying castle. We have giants and dragons working together.
I think there's an alliance with the cloud giants and the blue dragon, because those are the only two that we've seen together. That was when Philippe got kidnapped.
Okay. Do we know which cloud giant? Or all of them?
I don't know. Chris.
Hello.
In my memories that we dug up, I don't remember if I remembered the faces of one of the cloud giants.
No, you don't necessarily remember the faces. The only thing that you have been able to recall were an array of faces. However, it was giants hiding behind masks, whilst as if they were cheering on some sort of activity onwards as they were looking down. What you do remember, however, is that fateful evening that Philippe was ripped from your sort of sides. This flying structure, this castle, almost like a continent bursting through the clouds. The spires, the sides of the walls, the more blocked features of like the larger buildings below these turrets. You recognise this structure from an evening back in your past, and on that evening, all of you, technically heard the name of the cloud giant that was giving the orders and set the Bahira on you that afternoon.
In our notes, well, really, Adrick's notes, is sensory.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
It's the same cloud giant that Zephyros went to go visit to ask questions.
Yes. And we've never heard from him since. Okay.
Unfortunately, not.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Back
That's
to
all
the
right.
story. Don't recall the faces or the giants, but other than Zephyros, the only other cloud giants we've seen has been Sensori, I guess. I don't know. Like, this is all assumptions, but we have seen them together.
When you say them, you mean we've seen
We've
a
seen
cloud giant with the dragon.
with a blue dragon,
Yeah.
and that blue dragon that we saw with the cloud giant, in my opinion, seemed much bigger than the two that we fought in Asgore. So my guess is that might be the mother, which is probably the Blue Doom.
The mother dragon.
Yeah, or father. I'm not really sure. Do they
Ashnak
have?
just said he fought the family of these dragons.
I fought a like almost like a clutch, a band, a group, or whatever they call themselves, the wretched things. As I was adventuring the high ices, actually, sort of not necessarily too far away from where we are now, but very, very deep within the spine of the world, further north of this area. They were much smaller back then when I first encountered them. Easy pickings, I thought.
And you said a while ago that you were looking for other adventurers who'd also come to this part of the world. Were they on the
Well,
trail?
I heard rumours of from their initial orders and traversing the depths of the Underdark, going through the multiple layers, up and down, through tunnels, through cavern, through cave, swimming across bodies of water that even I myself shudder at the fact that I did, not knowing what was deep below the depths, within the depths. It was in search of my two old comrades, with the rumours of other beings underneath banding together. Unfortunately, my curiosity peaked and I pivoted away slightly, trying to understand where this group was coming from, what they were doing, and as I soon found out, they were leading a band of what looked to be undead giants, trolls, ogres, and that is when I came across the lower mines of the city of Adbar, the citadel of Adbar, and that is when I came across you five small ones. And he looks to each of you in the area.
Okay, so we've got undead ogres and trolls and all sorts of creatures, including dwarfs. We have this cloud giant. We have dragons. We also had further to the west the Great Gur and the
I do
attacks
recall
on
you
Golden Field.
describing this.
Yeah,
Indeed.
attacks on Golden Fields, attacks on the coast. We had when we were with Zephyros, that cloud giant that visited with the flying giant albatrosses or something was it? They then brought down Zephyros's tower. That was a blue dragon. Those were crystalline creatures like we encountered under this temple.
Hmm.
I'm seeing lots more pieces, but just not seeing a picture. But yes, some sort of conspiracy, some sort of plot. But where is the home of it?
Did you
And
sense
the
any
five of us,
reason?
the six of us can't take on. Well, two dragons nearly, one dragon and a giantess nearly killed you, Arshnak.
Yes, I was.
One of the,
I must admit, I was caught off guard, though, Adric.
oh, of course, yeah. Bree nearly died.
Back
Yeah.
to the tower, Adric. The early days of your band coming together to pry open the lid of this adventure that you all seem to be on. Was there any reason as to why that attack happened? Was there any wrongdoing? This other giant that quite graciously gave you a lift in his flying turret, his tower. Anything like that to indicate the attack was coming, was there, looming?
He's a.
Yes. Yes, there was.
I've no clue. Go on then. You say.
Sorry. No, I think I just have a bit more insight because I do understand giant a bit more than everyone else.
Hmm.
Before before that Cloud Fortress with Sephiroth was destroyed, um, uh, another giant came for a visit, and then there was a fight with, I guess, a dragon came and attacked as well. But they were the Zephyros and I don't remember his name, this storm giant.
Mhm.
They were talking about how someone is missing
Mm.
and they needed to have Zephyros come over for advice. And Zephyros didn't really want to get into the politics of anything. So I wonder if it has to do with this. Like we,
Taking what you have said at face value, Bree, with the terms politics and his sort of disagreement of trying to get in the way of things, and that you were visited that evening, that night, by a storm giant, it could be tied to the. I have not seen them myself. Only the Jarls of the larger clans seem to be invited to these gatherings, these meetings, the coming of minds to understand what should and should not be doing, what should and should not be done within the giant kingdom or kingdoms. This seems to be an issue potentially with the courts, the court of the giant kind, a rare gathering of giants of each from the different castes of giant kin, all the way from that of the lowly Ettins of the forests to the high and mighty storm giants. The storm giants do control the order of this court. Was there anything else that was divulged between these two, or was the storm giant trying to almost strong arm and convince this cloud giant to come with him or go to this area?
so my understanding is the giant lords aren't heeding the call.
Hmm.
And then I think there's something about his daughters. And I don't really know much more than that.
I see. I see.
We have seen the daughters though, and they're working. I think they're working with the well, maybe they might be the daughters. But there were two or three other giants. I don't think they were cloud giants, based off of I guess their size. When Philippe was kidnapped.
Ah, yes, yes. I recall this. I was just trawling through my notes as well. Yes, there was. So there was a another cloud giant that seemed to be uh, part of them. That was the same or one of the cloud giants that you recognised from Everland during the break-in of the tower.
Yes.
And then there was another giant at the back, seemingly as if they did not want to be witness or party to what was going on.
Yeah, they seemed a bit more hesitant to get involved.
I was glad you mentioned Evelyn. I was wondering about that. Well, I wondered if that was related or just a distraction. Again, they broke in and stole things. They stole the claw in the jar.
That claw
They,
came to a giant, like was it a dragon's claw?
yeah. But then they were also getting hold of slabs of adamantium. They were getting hold of that construct we found buried in the desert. And Harshnag, you referred to one of the dragons having like metal plates of armor.
Yes, the larger dragon, I believe the male of these two maybe classing them as siblings. He seemed to have some sort of almost like metal plating bolted to his body. Like he himself was almost a walking bulwark of metal. This dark black wrought iron. The smell of sulfur covering the surface of these plates was very prudent, almost as if they were freshly made. From the other interactions that we have had, the disappearances, the towns further down from when we first started this journey together, it seems as if, Bree, from what you say, where the giants are not heeding the call, it seems as if each of the giants, potentially even my own kin, have separated and gone their own ways, maybe just writing their own rules and commanding their own forces, their clans, their courts, potentially upheaving the balance of Toril itself. But it is uneasy with what you have said. The term alliance between dragons and giants, never in the many a year of giant history has that ever been.
Why would you think this could like how and why would this happen?
If order has truly broken, if the court, the giant court itself has been stricken in two, broken down, there is no control, no order. It's almost as if he looks to Johanna and Daraful. So if Bolgantech did not have a mayor, did not have certain organizational structures in place, there would be utter chaos. Even the great city of Waterdeep, if it did not have its guilds, its alliances, even the alliances made within the shadows of the streets, the alleyways, there would be more chaos. And heck, Waterdeep definitely is more chaotic than most cities that you come across.
So maybe they're trying to create like a new order.
Potentially, if the balance has shifted and there is a void to be sort of patched to go within this vacuum that has been made, there may be a power struggle amongst my kin, amongst those around the surface of Torah, even those of giant kin, the lowly giants that they may not be the size of myself, those fire giants we encountered along the trail here, but there could even be infighting between like small roving bands of trolls, ogres, even the rare race of the furbolgs who live further north than here. Even they may be in turmoil, sensing this shift.
So others might be taking advantage, you mean? So they've got
Yes, Adric.
so giants looking to create some sort of new order, others taking advantage of the chaos and the confusion. Maybe the blue dragons are helping them, because certainly Philippe wasn't helping them, knew nothing about it. And normally giants and dragons wouldn't be helping each other. Interesting. So thinking the great Gur might just be someone taking advantage of the fact that there's a bit of chaos going on. No one's looking.
This great Gur, how did you learn of this thing's existence?
Oh, that's a good question. We Golden Fields came under attack, and the beings attacking, which were like ogres and trolls and orcs, were saying they were trying to feed the great Gur. They were starving. They were stealing food. They were raiding. And Great Gur seemed to have a great appetite, wanted constant food. But no one was ever clear about what it was. We did have a vision of something, but it's all confused. I've had a couple of visions. Once of just being watched, another time of seeing bloodshot eyes and a great figure. Might be related, might not be. I don't know. So, yeah, is the Great Gur some sort of opportunist local troll or stone giant or something that's taking advantage of the distraction.
Indeed, indeed. Something of that size of gluttony, where sending bands or roving bands of these ogres, these orcs, these trolls that you mentioned. If they've attacked such a settlement, trying to get the food from there, the surrounding areas should have been more than abundant to sustain the. Admittedly, they may not be into agriculture and husbandry of the size and the dynamics made by the alliances in the area, but they should have found enough food within the surrounding areas of the.
But in the West, there's no food.
Oh,
Well, no, there is food, but like you go looking for cattle or livestock, there isn't any or very little. And then there are roving bands of, well, without being offensive, monsters that are stealing stored food from the settlements of other humanoids. Now, what's that? So yeah, you've got a lack of food. What's taking the animals? What's driving the animals away? What's causing that? Is that the same thing? Is that the giants trying to create something? Or is that something else taking advantage of the power vacuum?
did you encounter giants with your fights in Golden Fields and the surrounding area of the Desarin valleys?
Yes. We had hill giants attack Golden Fields.
Oh, yes.
Right. That
Um,
explains
yeah.
the insatiable appetites. That explains why areas have been pillaged for foods. If they are that desperate, there must be some issues, either around the Desarin hillsides, the valleys, the swathes of grasslands that are in that area. Grave news.
This is making me think about our visit with Old Gnawbones.
Oh, yes.
One thing that she said, I might not remember this right, but it's going back to the Blue Doom. Skirts the cold skies. A sister alone. Find the sister surrounded by those who trick her. And like, I feel like I'm connecting some dots here, and I feel like if we focus on the Great Ga, we're not going in the direction that we probably should be focusing on. Because as you said, Adrick, where dots are connecting, but we don't know where it's coming from. And I think everything seems to be tying to this blue dragon.
Yeah, I think Great Gur, some sort of being that's taking advantage of what's going on in the east, west,
Yeah.
but it's not the main cause, it's a symptom.
Yeah.
But whoever's been interfering with my sendings or that ritual you went through with Philip, yeah, that's something else, I think.
Mm.
Well, why would they be interested in us? Or maybe they're not. Maybe it's just.
I think we might be just getting in the way.
Aye, that is something that I enjoy doing, though, Bree. You see a smirk come across Harshnag's face.
Yeah, when we got hold of the Ironstone, that I think drew some attention. We got those. What I heard that when I spoke to the dead in the tomb, it said our names. It knew all of us. Well, apart from Coco. It said he was going to come for everyone apart from Kokopelli. He didn't mention Kokopelli.
I don't think that is related to the blue dragon and whatever else is going on. I think that ghost is after us because we stole something from them.
We didn't steal
Kind
it.
of by accident. We didn't return it after they asked.
It wasn't theirs.
How do you know?
It was hidden inside a temple.
That could have been dedicated to them.
They could have asked nicely. They might have asked nicely. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what we did was not the best thing we could have done.
I think letting them have it probably wouldn't have been a good idea.
Probably not, but we did what we did. And I think anything relating to communicating with the dead or anything related to the dead is something that we should avoid because that's how they're able to find us, is what I'm guessing. Because we haven't had anything since, we haven't heard anything since you casted that spell, right?
Yeah,
Here's
I
here's an
don't
here's a thought. Should we do that again intentionally?
raise the dead.
Right now,
Not right now.
I'm quite tired. I need a break.
Yeah, not right now. But like, we could try raise the dead intentionally to see if we get a rise. Test the
I'm not
theory.
doing that now.
No, not right now. I'm about to go to bed.
Yeah. I am not against that idea. It would be good to maybe do it and then run away somewhere. So when they head to wherever we are, we're already on the way, on the way out.
It's usually a speak with the dead spell, so they can't do much other than communicate during the spell that Adric casts.
They can't lie. I don't think they can lie. They can dissemble. They can. But what happened when I cast the spell was also I wasn't talking with the dead anymore.
Yeah,
The corpse was animated by somebody else,
yeah,
and that
it wasn't the
individual
person. Yeah.
was trying to influence us and frighten.
I do recall a voice in my head down in the upper mines of Adbar when you first came to my aid, as well as the other dwarves in the mine trying to quell this onslaught of undead creatures emerging from the caverns, from the tunnel systems. Was that the same being that contacted you, Adric?
I don't know what the voice in your head said, and I don't know what they sounded like.
It said, 1 second. No, wrong one. Sorry, bear with. Oh, hang on. Wrong session. We want this one. Okay. Adric, just before the Salria, one of the dwarven guild members, masters, I think she was. Before she gave the order to evacuate the tunnels, I heard someone say. He scratches his head, trying to remember, the words that were said in the depths of his mind. He mutters to himself in Giant, trying to sort of just organise his thoughts together. So, yes. Something echoed almost as if it was coming from the tunnels down in the darkest parts of the shadows that were around us. It said something along the lines of, "You will all fall. We will rise into the dream." Our God was mentioned within this verse that was being, I don't know, telepathically sent to me. There was also something about bringing upon a nightmare to this plane and tearing and freeing their kind. And before I could really think about it, Solria gave the order, and all of a sudden we were running up that staircase whilst detonations of TNT explosives were going off lower down, sealing the mines. Ultimately for good, but regrettably they did start to reopen the mines. That citadel can't operate without the minerals, I suppose.
I've now looked back through my notes while you're talking. I've got what I wrote down when I was talking with Vorok the miner, and it said to me I was a thief, yes, and I said I wasn't, and then he said I had something that belonged to her, and she was going to find me. She will bring me to the being, and she said she will bring you to me, much like your city. Doesn't make sense, does it? And then it said, your histories are forgotten about me. I will rise from the bowels of Karnheim. I will be lifted by her you call the doom. She will find you. She will find your comrades. She will claw her back. We will come through the veil. We will corrupt what you hold as beauty. I will wrought a nightmare across your home. Uthia will rise, and Nam has left you all. I mean, that's not Vorok talking. That's something else. And it's now saying if the Doom is the mother of the dragons that were here today, the mother of those dragons will find us. And it's saying it will bring to life, bring back whoever it was occupied Vorok's corpse.
Where's Karnheim?
Harshnag seems to be in deep and thought of some of the stuff that you have been explaining, Adric. The cogs are turning in his head, and he's managed to get one of his arms up, and he seems to be sort of stroking his beard, deep in this thought. Karnheim. I recall something, but I cannot put my finger on it, Adric. Everyone, Bree, Weylin, this mention, Karnheim. But again, the mention of our ancient mother, our god, our father Anam, coming from this being in which you were trying to just get straight answers from. Again, it's a worrying omen indeed.
I don't want to cast Speak with Dead again. I'm wary enough about casting a sending spell. Sent a simple-ish send spell to communicate with, try to communicate with Zephyros. Something took over. Something tried to reply to me that was not Zephyros. There's something with power that can control that sort of thing. I've tried sending spells since then. It's been fine, but they haven't worked. Right?
Could it be that Zephyros is kind of indisposed? But like if you used a sending spell on another person who isn't really involved with anything, it would work all right.
Oh yeah, because I sent a sending spell to Harshnag earlier this morning, and it worked fine.
Okay.
But he was almost directly in front of me, just a long way off. I sent a spell to my sister and got nothing back. But then we don't know where she is, my other sister. But yeah, that Speak with Dead, it was fine when I was talking with Vorok. He was directly answering my questions, but then something else took over.
I do feel that day was tainted by whatever corruption the undead brought through the mines up into Adbar. Maybe, yes, there is something larger at play that is able to manipulate things either at a whim or under more controlled means. But Adric, you should not folly from your path as your chosen clerical means. You should still understand that you hold your own power over your own spells. Be true of heart and do not falter.
I wasn't planning on giving up my faith, but it's challenging when the power that I'm given is diverted like that.
Ultimately, remember that faith comes within yourself first before you have faith with a patron, with a god, a deity, a being. Dare I say, anyone that people may have a pact deal with, but I don't think any of you have divulged into the dark arts, and I hope not. And he looks at all of you. That name still bothers me, that place that you've described from the voice, as from your connection with Varrock.
Where is Karnheim? You didn't reply when Weylin asked you.
I can't put my finger on it, Adric. I have heard that name somewhere else before, but it was many, many years ago.
I'd hesitate to go there, would we?
Oh, indeed. It sounds
Intervene.
not a nice place.
I mean, if we arrive there, does that precipitate something happen? Or do we get there in time to stop something bad happening? If something is being raised up from Karnheim by the Doom, we can find where Karnheim is. Presumably the Doom will be there. Who would know where to find Karnheim? We need maps. Has Kokopelli got any maps with Karnheim on them?
Don't think I've had that on the map that we've updated in Adabar.
No.
You could write it on.
Yeah, I'll make it appear.
That works, right? Doesn't it?
It might.
Always. Well, it's not here.
Actually, Chris, can I get the map out?
Yeah, you can get the map out. You stop playing your lute and you unfurl this large piece of paper, like this linen paper mix, lay it out on one of the flagstones.
I'm gonna write the place's name and see if it happens. see if Adrick's idea will be right.
I regret to inform you. You wait. The ink sets within the paper, this porous surface. Unfortunately, a portal does not open.
I say hocus pocus.
No, nothing happens.
I look up at Adrick and go, didn't work.
You don't have a create place spell then.
Let me check. Let me see. Let me see. No, I don't think heat metal will work. I'll burn the page.
You might.
No.
You got erase ink might be useful at this point.
Ah, I can pretend it never existed by just drawing something cool here. It's all good. We might travel down there. You never know. I can.
You could.
I can come with that up.
safe-
It's fine.
You could probably safely write "Here be dragons." I would suspect.
Ah, I sort of scoff and just roll it back up. Put it back in my bag. I do want to show Harshnag something because I don't remember showing him the picture that I drew.
Of what, when you're in tower?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, maybe jog some memories or if he knows of it. I get it out and I tell him, Harshnag, we've found this very well. I believe it was me, Bree, I think Adrick was there as well. Just found some paperwork cluttered everywhere. And there was one that I was kind of intrigued over of this massive drawing and a bunch of other screwed up ones. And I show him that the shadowy figure with the hole and everything. And I said, I've replicated it. Would you know anything of this?
I must admit this. Your drawing skills are very good, but to me, this just looks like some sort of winged bird creature.
Because hearing about the nightmare and what the dwarves in Adbar released and what could have happened in the tower, this could be one of the nightmares or said beings.
It could
I don't
be.
know. I just drew this just to sell it, but if it helps, I'm going to keep it for now. But I don't know where we can go from with this information, really. I sort of shrug at the group.
Yeah, I think that's enough speculation for one day. I'm gonna turn in.
It's middle of the afternoon.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about 2:00 now.
Oh damn! I'm so tired.
We just
Well,
had
you
lunch.
you have almost this weird kind of event.
Jet lag.
Yeah, that's a good description of it. Of emerging, going down and emerging back from the caverns down below probably has set your body clock off, especially with the amount of combat that you've exerted yourself with.
Well, that is pretty good then. Is there other shops around here?
You are surrounded by large boxes of supplies as such. There's the corridors that were filled from sort of what do you call it? Corner of the floor to almost the alcove of the ceiling of boxes of supplies and bags and sacks. If there's anything that you are trying to find, I'm sure the inhabitants of Bolgantech would be able to provide you with whatever you need.
Yeah. I'm just looking around for some arrows and maybe an extra quiver.
So you're going around. You've left the conversation. Coco sort of rolling his map back up and maybe Coco, are you going back playing the loot, or is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
I might have a little stroll around, see what's about.
Okay. Are you going with Weylin, or are you going in the opposite direction, going around?
Yeah, I could follow Weylin for a bit, and then there's other things in the. We're in a city still, aren't we?
Well, you're in the Great Temple. You're in the Great Hall, which is like the central, main, large room of this structure.
We're in a city, yeah.
Yes, a semi-abandoned city, and there's a massive storm going on outside.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
The gates are kind of wrecked as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow Weylin around.
Okay. So the pair of you have now departed from the conversation, leaving Bree and Adrick to try and, quell the pain of Harshnag. And Loch is still digging into his bowl of stew and everything. He's a growing lad after all. So you wander off. Just a recap of where you have been within this temple. So you came in through its main archway into the Great Hall. To your right, to the right of the main entrance, sorry, there was the corridor that the guide sent you down. That is where you saw a couple of small rooms darting left and right off the main artery of that corridor, a couple of stairwells, and then you hit the majority of the corridor that had all the supplies. Bending a left around that corridor was a longer corridor, but in the middle of it was the double doors that went into the room that Darafor and Johanna were awaiting your arrival in. And then wrapping around back into the Great Hall, that's where you all emerged to witness Harshnag ripping apart the facade of the statue. So if you can imagine that there's a big square in the middle, and at the top of it is like a C shape that is clipped onto the top, and then that is mirrored. And on the opposite side, where that mirrored corridor is, that was the stairwell down. That's where you came back up from just now after your adventures beneath the temple.
So we're coming into a big old clearing sort of area.
Well, so you're really in sort of like the big clearing itself.
Yeah.
You'll be going to one of these great corridors, and the only corridor that you really have been in that had supplies was that first one. So the northern corridor.
Okay. So then we'll head down. We'll head down the northern corridor. I'm looking out for archery sales and potentially a calligrapher if we can find one.
A calligrapher. Oh, okay.
A bit of a stretch, but dwarves, yeah, they're pretty knowledgeable.
So you can see that there are some dwarves sort of meandering around. The majority seems to have actually left the Great Temple and have been sort of sent out after the events of the Harshnag ripping apart the statue. You come across a couple of rooms and you go and you peer into one. The pair of you peer into one. It seems to be like a large gymnasium sort of room. The floor is quite smooth, quite level, no risk of tripping over. And sort of in the corners, there's loads of these storage boxes, and everything seems to be organised in rows and columns just for ease of access and retrieving these materials. Another room that you go into, this actually looks to be the war room. So this is where all the military supplies. There is, what you can see, there is some ammunition, Weylin. So you're going to be able to sort of take a couple of things here and there. And there is one dwarf that is around sort of taking stock check, walking around with a clipboard.
Excuse me, sir, or ma'am. I went kind of squint a little bit there. So do you sell?
Yes.
Do you sell a quiver, like quivers for the arrows that I can see over there? Kind of like this one. It shows the quiver.
Oh. You're with that giant fellow, are you not?
That's right.
Oh, I see. Well, nothing here is technically for sale. He sort of goes off. He's got a bit of a limp to him. He seems to be one of the older dwarves in the area. He's seen, much adventure in his days, potentially. He has like long grey plaited beard tendrils all clasped off in like these silver kind of bands. And he peers around and, how much are you looking for?
20 arrows. If actually, I've got 3, so 17. Unless you can sell me a quiver, and then I'm looking for 37.
Unfortunately, we don't have any quivers. We have it's these small sort of like satchel holder things. He shows you what they use to carry the arrows around. It's
Ooh.
almost as if it's like a loop that goes on their waist. Probably not the most safest of things to carry sharp arrows in, especially those of the bodkin variety that you've used in the past. But he does hand you a bundle of 17 arrows and goes, help yourself in the future. I'm not entirely sure how long you and your band of, I don't know, if you're friends of Adrick or mercenaries or something.
Yeah, we're friends.
But from the act of bravery that giant gave my friends and their family members time to get out and escape that recent attack just outside, then yes, please, by all means, here. And he hands you the 17 arrows.
Thank you very much, kind person, dwarf.
Thank you, long-eared, furry human. And he sort of he pivots on the heel of his foot and just walks back to his clipboard.
Oh, before you go off, I'll just like to ask real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you know of any calligraphers around here, or anybody that knows of faraway lands?
Oh, not faraway lands as such. I've very rarely ventured outside the city walls of this place I call home. But if you're looking for a scribe or someone to maybe transcribe something from a book, the scholars that are roaming around on the upper levels may be your best bet. But alas, not a lot of the inhabitants has ventured down through the ice spires.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking for existing knowledge rather than scribes. But
I see.
yeah, it's worth a try.
He goes off and carries about his day.
Yeah,
Coco, is there
thank
anything
you.
that you'd like to do? Sorry.
Is it just the old guy that's handing out supplies and stuff?
It's just him, yeah.
What else is around the area?
So you're in sort of a room. It's not as big as the gymnasium. You probably only store, I don't know, 4 or 5 rows and equal columns of boxes stacked 3 or 4 high. There's some swords, a couple of shields lying around. There's a lot of the boxes are sealed, and there's a lot of Dwarven written over everything with like these notes that seem to have been tacked to the sides of the boards of the boxes. Some of them have been pried open. There's a load of stuffing in them. There's some empty. There's a lot of empty glass vials and some of these boxes that you can see open. Is there anything particular you're looking for?
A shield would be nice, actually. To be fair, I'll go over to those sets of boxes with like the weaponry and shields and stuff.
Okay. So you're looking through these sort of like upright shields that are leant up against one another, almost like how dishes are stacked on a draining board in like a kitchen or some of the restaurants that you've graced in your time in some of the cities farther north, far away from this place. You come across a small, almost like a no more than 1.5, 2 feet wide, and it has a series of leather bands that seem to be adjustable that could be put onto your forearm. You pick it up and it's incredibly lightweight. It has obviously the rivets, the banding to keep these wooden boards together, but you may be able to use it as some sort of buckler. So not necessarily a shield that would get in the way that you would have to use a hand, but something that would give you some sort of defense or a heightened amount of defense against incoming attacks. So if you were to dual wield like daggers, as rogues do, or other finesse weapons permitting 2-weapon fighting, this would still allow that feature to be used in the future.
Ooh. Is anyone around with these supplies?
The guy's kind of, looking around, taking note, moving from one box to another, flicking through pieces of paper.
I'm gonna carry the shield, like a child, and be like, "Excuse me, sir, can I have this shield?"
Yeah, there's a box of those up that way, and he points high up towards the area that you've just come from. If you need it, take it. But no, this isn't. All of this isn't just for free to a point. There has to be a limit.
Ah, well, we're helping with Adrick's family, so I hope this will help. That's all I need it for.
I see. And he nods and then looks back down to his clipboard.
Let's go. Right. Can I Skyrim this and take everything? Put a little basket on his head.
No, you can't do that. Oh God.
Okay. This is hard because I still want to try and do this thing that I've messaged a while ago in my development thing. I might go back to the old guy that Weylin was with. Just have a small little chat.
Okay.
I go, hello, again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I am trying to work here.
I can see. This is such a bad conversation already. I was just wondering. You look like you've seen things. You've, I was wondering, what you used to do in your old work.
Well, fair enough. I see. I used to be part of the guard. I used to go about going across the walls, part of the police, and like my father before me and my father before him, my ancestry goes back to that of the founders of this city. I feel that I have had no use to leave this home. I've had everything here. All my friends are here. My family, my late wife. I have many a good memory within the walls of this great city, this ancient city, this dwarven fortress within the ice spires. And he seems to sort of get more kind of zealous as he calls back and remembers his youthful days.
That sounds really cool. You said you're part of the police. Well, was
I am.
I should
Yes,
say.
I was. Yes.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I was wondering with this policing, happen to meet anyone, let's say. Oh, now I'm going to say this bit in a bit of code. By code, I mean like in a thieves' can't sort of way. I'm going to say in a way, anyone that has or is trying to. Oh God, had in my head. Let's say doing. Oh, piss. It's in my notes. Hang on 1 second.
No worries.
1 sec. 1 sec. Where's it gone? That was it. Let's say people that were part of an association, maybe to better the realm. In Thieves' Can't, it's sort of a way of saying, have you met a harper?
He looks at you as you deliver this cryptic message. The way that you go through, shifting from first person to third person in certain odd areas of the sentences, the sentence structure. He almost follows along, and then he just completely and utterly loses you as you try and sort of tie up what you've been saying, and goes, "I don't. I'm kind of busy. Don't really. Whatever you do outside of the city's walls, can you please keep it to the outside of the city walls?" And he goes back to his clipboard.
Understandable. I'll give him like a little crow bow and then hop away.
Both
You
in the
walking back?
corridor. Yeah. Are you walking back round in the sea, in sort of like the C shape of the corridor? So you're going to walk past the room that you spoke to Johanna and Darafor, or are you just going to 180 and go back to the main group?
What do you want to do, Weylin?
Well, I guess we're out here. We might as well, go the scenic route.
Yeah, let's have a little pit.
Okay.
So we'll walk down and around.
All right. There's not that many supplies within this room anymore. They're still stacked high above, and you would have to climb up on them. But a lot of the sacks and a lot of the loose material has either been packed away or has been moved to a different location within the temple. You you approach and are about to walk past the main door of the room that you're in, where you had the meeting with Adrick's brother and sister, and you peer in. That the door is open, and you peer in, and again there are the dwarves that were there, sorting out the stacks of books, organizing the day-to-day activities or the orders that were being given out, the chores almost, to those that still remained within the walls to try and keep the city running. Is there anything you'd like to do or carrying on?
Nah, I'll just keep taming Weylin around.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
so we see everything going on, but I think Adrick would be best placed to speak to. Yeah. Is it his brother or cousin?
So you've met Adric's brother and sister,
Darren.
Darafor and
Yeah.
Johanna.
So yeah. I'll go back to the group, and Kokopelli will be going with me.
All right. Coco, is there anything that you'd like to be doing as you're going down these halls, or just following tail?
Just following.
Okay.